Hello, everybody. Welcome to this edition of Shelbyville Now Sports Talk Live. We've got a special edition today. We're going to be talking NFL draft. I have with me today Mr. Drew Hooker. Drew, good to have you with us.
Thank
Kenny
you.
Parker and Bill Anderson. All these guys are draft experts. I'm just going to sit here and listen to them talk today, but we've got a lot of stuff to talk about, and we're going to get right to it. Let's start out, guys, by talking about the draft overall, those first picks. Let's talk about pick number one, Bryce Young. Out of Alabama going to the Panthers. What do you guys think about that? Somebody jump in and run with it.
I think that is a no deal. Brain. I mean, that was a no. Everybody knew that was going to be the pick, being what Carolina needed, and I think they got a good player overall.
Heisman Trophy winner.
Yeah,
as we spoke before we came on air, a little bit of Patrick Mahomes in him because this guy knows he's accurate with the football. He can fling it. And a lot of people can do that and get it where it's going.
Well, I think it's arm angles.
Yes.
He's able to kind of thread it in there when the ball's not, really supposed to be thrown. He can still find a way to get it in there. I think there was early a little bit of confusion between the Panthers of who they were going to pick between him, Anthony Richardson, or Will Levis. But I think probably in the last 3 weeks, it kind of really become clear that Bryce Young was the pick.
Bit stand out way, way, way above the other two.
Yeah,
he's got a good coach in Frank Reich. Frank Reich's excellent with quarterbacks.
His mind, his intelligence level was off the charts on the test they took.
And I'll tell you, he's played for Kiffin. He's played under Sarkisian. He's had some good stuff, and he's going to be a player. He's small, but he's smart. He knows when to run. He knows when to get down. He knows when to do. Now it's going to take some adjusting because the speed of the game, what he's been doing, it's going to be
different.
up, but I think he will be able to adapt to it.
His brain power will get him caught up with it.
And he's good at knowing what they're doing and taking what they give him.
All right.
Well, and I think the other thing that really is going to be beneficial for Bryce versus the other quarterbacks is that I think the system he's going to is going to be able to protect him. Great quarterback coach, great head coach. Really good offensive line. I think those kind of things are going to really play into really giving him some success moving forward.
Jim Caldwell's on the staff there too. And Jim Caldwell is one heck of an NFL coach.
When they showed a picture of all the coaches that are going to be around and the tree that they came, it's impressive.
Yeah, Peyton Manning.
Very impressive.
There's a lot of tied to Peyton Manning, and lots of different quarterbacks.
And going to the right team over the years, think about this. Had Ben Roethlisberger gone to the Cleveland Browns, would you ever heard of him?
Probably not.
But he goes to the Pittsburgh Steelers where he's, there's a difference going to the right team and the right staff. And in this case, I think they have a winning coaching staff, which is going to really help him.
And you bring up Roethlisberger. They talk about he's so small he's going to get hurt. Well, Roethlisberger got hurt too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that one thing
here's the thing: you play quarterback in the NFL, you're gonna get hurt.
You watch Bryce playing, and he gets around all those big linemen, and he looks short. He's 6'1". Okay, he looks shorter than that, but he's 6'1", weighs about 190 pounds. He puts on 15 pounds of muscle, gets his body built up. He's gonna be all right. But I think he's so.
No, he's 6'1".
Maybe that was on one of those stretch days.
He was short of Melissa Stark the other night.
Well, that's what they put.
That's for the program.
It's in the program. Yeah. So
it sounds a lot
I
better.
think he's really about 5'11" and a half. I think he's probably about. He's 204 for draft, but I think he's going to play about 190.
He is the identical height at the combine of Kyler Murray.
Identical. Yeah. Okay. Well, he's
bigger than Murray.
Yeah, and there's a lot of other intangibles there that Murray don't have that he does. All right, let's move to the next pick. All right. Who do we have next? C.J. Stroud in our quarterbacks.
He's surprised. I mean, I think folks were kind of shocked because everybody's saying they weren't taking one.
Thank Houston.
We do.
Yeah, we do.
Thank you, Houston.
If you're a Titan fan, you need to thank Houston.
Well, honestly, I'm proud he's in our division. That's all I'll say.
Well, I think everybody thought they were going Will Anderson.
Yeah,
I thought that the commentators, a lot of the experts all thought at the last minute.
Levis,
No.
No,
I thought they would go Will Anderson.
Oh,
Will Anderson.
okay.
They did trade back up to
okay.
number 3 and take.
But I think they knew what they were going to do because if they had taken Anderson, they would have never been able to trade with Arizona.
Yeah.
But they were wanting both of them.
And they
And
may have
by-
had the trade done before they ever picked.
All right, we
Right.
got a comment from Jake Tyre on here. He said, "Boys, they should have taken Stetson Bennett." Who, Jake? Which team?
Come on,
Which
Got to
one
get
you
him out of
Coach.
jail.
Oh,
you,
coach.
you talking about like maybe the Alouettes
Yeah.
up in the
Hey,
Canadian League? Oh, I'm
Stetson-
Stetson's
I
going to be a
will say-
receiver for the Patriots before the end of the day. He's
Stetson-
that guy.
I don't think he gets drafted at all.
Stetson will be drafted. He's
I
a
do not.
winner. I think
He
somebody
blows
will
the
give him a
interviews.
chance.
You've heard how bad he interviews. It's
well,
bad.
he's also been gotten a little
He's
trouble
gotten
too,
into some
couple
trouble
times.
also, yeah.
Okay.
But
Well, that's all right. We'll
Uh,
see how that plays out. I'm pulling for him.
I hope
I
he
think
does
he's
well.
got a
SEC.
chance.
Yeah,
I think he's got a
I do too.
chance.
Yeah, number one overall, the number one overall. He beat everyone. He's a winner, gentlemen. We won't disagree with that one.
Disagree with that at all. Nope.
All right. So we got CJ out of the way. Let's now talk about Richardson. To me, this is the mystery pick right here.
Hey, here's me. What'd you say? You was glad CJ played in?
Our division.
Well, Richardson's
I
playing
know
in
it.
it too.
I know
So I'm
it.
glad there also.
Well,
I don't think he's gonna pan out.
What with high school? We were talking. Kenny and I were talking about.
He I
What
mean,
was
you
his
go
percentage?
back. You go back and look what he's done. He's not been a passer. He's a runner.
The one stat I think stands out between quarterbacks and the transition from college to pros is accuracy. And he's a 54% accurate passer.
Even in
And-
high school.
Even in
Yeah.
high school.
Absolutely. And so the thing is when you see those players that they transition to the college game, that's the one stat they can't fix.
Oh.
Because, and they say that from all the experts, oh, well, the good quarterback coaches will fix that. Well, it didn't work with Jake Locker. He was
No.
the same style player and the same, 50% accuracy level. Well, that didn't fix. You've got just a handful of quarterbacks that have been drafted over the years that when they don't have good accuracy in college, that doesn't translate well. Arm strength and all is great. He can throw it 60, 65 yards. The problem is where's the ball going to go?
Yeah.
Is he going to overthrow those receivers?
It's-
Is he going
it's-
to underthrow?
It's sort of like that girl on the softball field I talked about the other day, and she can flat bring it on. But all she knows is when she let go of it, she ain't got it in her hand no more. And that's the way he is. He can flat throw it, but
Okay.
all he knows is when he lets go of it, he ain't got
Hey,
it.
we
in his
got
hand.
we got some people out there. We want to encourage you to chat with us. Send us in your take, your comments, and we'll comment on those and recognize you guys when you chime in. But I think that what we're talking about here, we're already going down a path, and this is just a fact about the quarterback position. I believe there are so many variables at that position. You don't know how a player's going to pan out when he gets to this level. You just
And
don't
listen,
know.
Every draft, we say the same
Yeah,
thing,
yeah.
except for last year when no quarterbacks were taken. But the drafts are normally a quarterback-driven draft.
Yeah.
Now, last year was an exception. Everybody's stretching because
It's a quarterback-driven league.
it's just like right
Not just a
now.
draft.
It's like right now, every team in the NFL is winning the Super Bowl.
Well, and the teams that are winning are the ones that drafted their quarterback. They were able to win during their rookie contract
Right.
because they can put resources around them. And I think that's where a lot of teams are looking. The Colts are one of them. The big shift from Matt Ryan, which is a statue, to a now mobile quarterback. That's a huge shift. That's going to be a change in offensive philosophy. That's going to be a change in the way that he's going to be coached. So that's going to be something to watch to see how they're going to either try to mold him into the offense they have, or are they going to alter their offense to fit a more
That's
college
question.
game?
What do you guys think that the average NFL coach looks at? Do you just pick the best quarterback and mold your offense to him, or do you just try to find somebody that fits your system?
No, I think you've got to mold.
Okay.
I know as a coach, my players were different year in and year out, and I had to change what I did for.
Right. For them.
But I still wanted the best I could get, and then I changed what I do with them.
Right.
Well, and I think the successful NFL coaches change to the player.
Yes.
Look at look at the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
That is a glorified college offense, and they get very creative and move people around. That's not traditional to the NFL. And you see the success they've had because Mahomes is a more college style player where he's going to get out, change arm angles, motion people around to get them into space. And I think the Kansas City Chiefs have been successful of it. I think other teams have not, as they brought in these college type quarterbacks, and I think they've not changed to them. And I think those are the ones that haven't been
Dave
successful.
Overcast comes in. He says accuracy equals reading the field. A lot of truth to that.
lot of truth to that.
Exactly.
Very good point.
Knowing what the defense has got out.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to know
But
that.
this coaching staff that the Colts brought in came from Philadelphia. So clearly what they're thinking is Richardson's hurts. They're going to run that style.
Yeah.
The Ravens are another team with Lamar. Look how if they changed their entire offense around Lamar Jackson. And
They
they've had
just
some
brought in
success.
a college
And they just-
offensive
But
coordinator.
now they just brought in a college offensive coordinator.
Okay, so the overall take on Richardson, he's a wild card in my opinion, but I don't think he makes it.
Tremendous
That's
athlete.
Yeah.
A
Great
tremendous
athlete.
athlete, great athlete. And it depends on what you say makes it.
I just
Yeah,
don't think the NFL fans are as patient anymore.
No,
Used to, those players could come in and sit for 2 or 3 years and then grow into being an NFL quarterback. If you're drafted in the first round, you're going to start.
well, the expectation comes from those people sitting in the stands, and it affects the coaching staff and the management.
And the player.
Yeah, I mean, I got to get
Interesting.
this. I got to do this. I got to do
I don't know if
this.
a lot of people realize this.
But-
Gardner Minshew is a Colt. So I wonder if Minshew, the mustache, starts the season, or Richardson. I bet it's Richardson.
Well, I got a good friend that's a big Colt fan, and he said they had a veteran in front of him. So I don't know. I don't keep
Gardner.
up with the Colt. Is that who it is?
Yeah.
Minshew?
Yeah.
Gardner's
Yeah.
serviceable.
And
he's serviceable.
he's been a good quarterback.
Sure.
I mean,
Now,
I've been surprised that he's been benched as many times.
here's the thing that I was talking to my son about the receivers at Green Bay, and these new quarterbacks that come in. You got to have a veteran to teach them.
Yeah.
You've got to have somebody on your staff that's a veteran that can mentor to them, because if you don't, they're not. Only way they're getting experience is through playing, and that could be bad experience.
Mhm.
You need somebody there that can help them with all the little things that we don't see.
And you gotta think about what you just said and look at where Bryce Young went and who his head coach is, and then the coaching staff. He's got quarterbacks around him.
Mhm.
He is set up to succeed quick.
Well, and I think there's so much truth to that, because it's not what really happens on Sundays. It's what happens in the meeting room on
You
Tuesday.
win your game Monday through
Yeah,
Saturday.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And how do you carry yourself on the practice field? When you make a
Yes.
mistake, how do you correct that?
Mhm.
I think that's going to be the key in these guys is what does this coaching staff do? And then also what are the other players around them going to help them be able to succeed or not? And I think that's where it scares me with CJ Stroud, because they're not a very veteran heavy team down in Houston. So I think that one struggles. But then Anthony Richardson, we'll see, because that staff does come from Philly, and they've been very successful with Jalen Hurts. And so I think out of the two, I think Richardson has the better chance.
Okay. All right, let's move now. We're not going to go to our fourth quarterback pick. We'll get to him in a little while, but we're going to talk Titans now. And
Knocked a home run
on that pick,
at first pick.
yeah, best
Best lineman of the draft.
best lineman of the draft.
They couldn't have asked for anything better to fit their need.
Smart, fast, strong,
Versatile.
quickness. I mean,
His-
he's got it all.
Here's the
Never
thing.
been hurt.
If his arms had been 2 to 3 inches longer, he wouldn't have been there. That's his only key.
Top 5 pick.
Yeah.
Top 5 pick.
Taylor
Yeah.
Lewan made a good point yesterday on 104.5 about the arm length thing. He said that the difference in him and the Titans pick was about 1.5 inches. He said, which is nothing. But
And
his
Michael
arms are identical to Michael Roos.
Yes, Michael Roos had
10
short arms
years,
too,
10
and
year
I'd
left
take
tackle
that.
for the
Yeah,
Titans.
yeah.
He's Michael Roos home
Well,
run.
Well, they say he can play any position on the line.
Yeah, he can play
Oh,
guard.
yeah,
He can
yeah.
play anywhere.
And I mean, that's they were fortunate. That
And
he
if you
fell that
notice the
far.
Titans offseason moves, every one of these linemen they're picking up are all versatile. that can play multiple
Yeah.
positions. And I think that's been our struggle, is because last 2 years when we had a tackle go down,
That year
we had to
mess,
go
yeah.
straight to absolute, practice
Mhm.
squad level player. And now they can move a guard over to tackle. They'll have the ability to do that, because I think that this kid, and this was said by Pat Fitzgerald, his college coach, yesterday on the radio, was that if he's not an all-pro tackle, he'll be an all-pro guard.
Right.
So
That's
one of
awesome.
the two, he's going to be.
If you're
He's a
quick enough
player.
to play
Yeah.
guard,
He's a
and
player.
you
Yeah.
take that quickness and put it at
Uh,
tackle.
Who did his
stop.
grandfather play for?
Yeah.
He's in the ring of honor.
Yeah.
He's a player.
All right,
And
so
somebody.
first pick for the Titans, we got the great guard from Northwestern. Now we move down, we made some maneuvering, we move up, and we take Will Levis.
Home run again.
You
Yeah.
think so?
Mhm.
To only give up a third round next year to have a potential chance at a franchise quarterback.
I
He's
think-
cocky, but I think he's got talent.
I
Look at
think
last
that-
year's tape, and I didn't see franchise quarterback.
you look at the year before last, and
Yeah.
you did. Better draft this year for him than the third round and that we got the year before last.
Oh yeah.
Oh, no
There's
doubt.
Okay.
No question.
now.
All right. How many teams, Levitt was a top 5 pick. Everybody thought he was going to be a top 5 pick. Nobody thought he was going to go to where he was. Now, that being said, there's some people that might be saying something in, but with the Titans right there, I think that was a very good pick. I think he will be. Now, again, who's he going to throw to? Who's
The
who-
water boy? I don't know.
Here's the thing: it don't matter who's the quarterback for the Titans. Who are they throwing to?
I know.
So what's that mean? Get some help.
Got to.
I think Drew said earlier in our off the camera, with all of these new guys coming in and the way teams are picking, there's going to be some veterans cut here in a little bit that are going, because teams are going to try to get their cap staff down a little bit to sign some of these others. There are going to be some good receivers come on the late free agency market.
Oh yeah, and
Yeah.
maybe
here
we
in a
can
little
pick
bit.
them up.
maybe-
And they say Rand is really good in those late rounds of
Yeah, I think that's where
maneuvering.
he'll excel.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that like you said, I think the receiver thing will work out. I think the problem is what we've got to be able to see is what's going to happen this year. Is it going to be Tannehill? Is it going to be Levis? I think it's going to be Tannehill
I
for
do
this
too.
year.
Absolutely.
But I do think that we are going to be able to allow him a year to get into the system, which I think is going to put him in almost a better position than all the other 3 quarterbacks that were drafted ahead of him, because he'll actually get to sit and watch while the others are probably going to be pushed.
And one
in the
thing about
sun.
this one.
Here's what Tannehill or Levis or the receivers, any of them better be hoping, is they take care of that offensive line.
Yeah.
Because if they don't take care of that
They're not
offensive
doing
line,
anything, are they?
those other offensive positions are.
Okay, we've got Dave Overcast comment. Tom Brady was never an athlete, nor was Joe Montana. The league has skewed towards big name flash, and he gets cut off right there. But
Don't disagree with it.
I don't either. They
Brock
just
Purdy.
yeah.
How well did he play? 7th round guy.
And you talk about Bryce Young. Look at Montana's height
Yeah,
and all that.
6'1", yeah, 190, same size,
Drew
and not
Brees.
near as fast.
Drew Brees.
Everybody said he was too short, too
Mhm.
small.
Yeah, Richardson
Hall of Famer.
probably would have never been a quarterback 25 years ago. He would have played another position.
Yeah, he'd have been probably a tight end.
Yeah, and so the thing is I think he's definitely on point with that. Is that the NFL gets enamored with height, weight, speed, and so they see this, and arm strength is a big one. They see those stats that come out, and they're like, oh well, he's got to be a top 5 draft pick. Well, the problem is do they have the ability to read a field? Do they have the ability to check down to the 3rd receiver?
And that's
'Cause
the
that's the
quarterback
key.
position.
Yeah.
That is the court.
Yeah.
If you can't do that, you cannot play quarterback, especially in NFL.
I see Will Levis. I see one big question mark. That's all I'll say. I wasn't real thrilled with the pick, but like you say, you go back to his junior year, everybody was talking first round pick, first round pick.
He would have been
He
the
got-
first pick overall.
They got a messed up toe, sprained ankle, and some rib injuries this
And no
year.
line,
No line.
no receivers.
He still competed. He was out there. We'll see.
And
I'm not
and
thrilled with the
came
pick,
back
but
to compete. Came back too.
And his completion percentage as a junior was very comparative to Bryce Young as a junior. Now it dropped off as a senior, but again, offensive line much worse, receivers much worse,
And
and a lot of coaching changes.
and his number one running back stayed injured for about 6 or 7 games too in the middle of that. All right, let's now slide on down. I'm sitting with anticipation last night, waiting to see us get a receiver, and we draft a running back out of Tulane, which is they say he's an outstanding running back, but he's had 3 ACL surgeries. They say he's healthy. I saw the video of him. He looked great. What do y'all think about that pick, and why him, and why at that point? Why did we do that?
The guy probably is a 4th or 5th round graded player. I thought he looked really good at the Senior Bowl. He played for Tulane. If y'all remember that bowl game, he ate USC up in that bowl game.
Yeah,
he was awesome.
Yeah,
but where was the need? You got Derrick Henry. You got the big back from Michigan.
There is always a need for a back out of the backfield in the NFL.
Maybe that's our passing. Maybe
receivers.
that's our passing game. Maybe that's an aid to our passing game.
And here we just, who we gonna throw it to? Who we gonna throw it to? Now we got somebody that can come out of the backfield to throw it to.
So is he a replacement for Hilliard?
I don't know who he's going to replace, but I know this: when he was at the senior day and all, every one of the analysts were high on him.
Oh yeah,
every one of them. Now, I heard this also. If you need, what's too high? If you need something, what's too high?
Well, the need for wide receiver was much greater than running back.
Well, and I do think they were thinking receiver. I do. And I think that the run on receivers, because you had Dale going at 69, you had Hyatt going at 73, Tillman at 74, and then Josh Downs going at 79. So right there before they picked, I think 4 receivers that were the second tier good quality receivers all went ahead.
And this is where the trade hurts you a little bit, because you went from 72 where you could have had Hyatt, Tillman, or all those guys, and you moved down to 81. And now they're
but I still say that trade to get Levitt. Now, on your side, you got the receivers left. Who would you have went with? If you say we got to have him a receiver, we should have got receiver there after that. What would your receiver?
My guy in the second round would have been Jonathan Mingo out of Ole Miss. I think he's going to be an absolute stud.
But you didn't. He wasn't there.
Now
then.
he will be playing.
But he wasn't there then.
Well, Hyatt would have been there at Tillman. I clearly would have liked
the
Tillman.
Panthers did good.
Those 2 picks are going to come back for the Panthers and be good. But I think right now the best available sitting at receiver when they picked was Tyler Scott out of Cincinnati.
And they do like him.
But he's a slot guy.
He's a slot guy.
And I think you already got that guy.
Yep.
You have A.T. Perry, which is out of Wake Forest. He's the big guy. But the problem is I think they're trying to shy away from those guys in the Titans. They don't like the 6'4", 6'5" receivers.
They've been burnt with them.
Yeah, I think so. And so I think they're looking for the A.J. Brown, the 6'1", 6'2", thicker guys, the Mingo types.
Right.
He
would
was
be
long
great
gone.
compared with Burks.
And so when you look at the board, and I think that it just how it played out, is I just don't think there was a receiver sitting there. Now, Darnell Washington was sitting there.
He was. I would have loved that one.
Yeah. But
I love that one.
There's something. There's some medicals that's going on with him, and there's a reason that he failed.
Talk about help your blocking in the offensive line.
There's a lot of people that would have liked to have Pittsburgh knocked a homer when they got him.
So here's a question that we get to now. What kind of maneuvering are we going to do? Are we going to try to move up and get a round 4 pick, do some trading around?
Julio Jones.
Huh?
Thank you, Julio Jones. That's why we don't have that 4th round pick.
Yeah. So
$10 million in dead money.
But wait a second. When they did it, when they went and got Julio,
the problem wasn't going to get Julio; it was inheriting that contract and not making it be redone.
People didn't see that; they were
and that's the thing that we need.
They were headed to the Super Bowl.
Oh
yeah. Well, but we don't need to. Same thing with DeAndre Hopkins.
Yes,
we don't need to. We
Mm-mm.
don't need to get into that because then we turn around and we really hamstring ourselves. Now, there's a lot of talk that one of the big 4 is going to get traded today. That's Henry, Tannehill, Byard, well, they had Simmons in there, but Simmons got tied up in the new deal. So will one of those three get traded today to get a 4th round pick, maybe
No.
to get a veteran receiver?
Absolutely not.
I
No.
would not.
I think the trade thing had more to do with the Stroud deal. Had that move been made, and I think that's why it's still out there. Had Stroud, Houston didn't take him. I think you probably saw Tannehill go to the Cardinals because
Henry.
Murray's or however they had to do it. They were going to go up and get him.
Okay, so
You
who's
don't
left?
trade star players for 4th round
Who's
picks.
left at receiver that's going to be a 5th round, and who's going to be at the end here? That's a good.
I think the
prospect.
guy I like is the Butte guy out of LSU.
Oh, I love him now.
I like him. He's
I
got
do
some
too.
character problems, and that's been kind of the
I like
knock on him. And I think that's why he's come out of the 3rd or 4th round. Trey Palmer's out there from Nebraska. He's kind of a burner. And then after that, it drops off quite a
Hey,
bit.
who doesn't like burners?
Yeah.
Hill,
Stretch
Waddell.
that field.
You give me those burners. We're going to come back to it, but the boy the Ravens drafted from Boston College.
I love that kid.
Oh yeah,
gonna
Zay
be a-
Zay Flowers is a
Yeah.
player. The Ravens always draft well.
So
Always.
you look at our receiver position right now. The wild card to me in that is Kyle Phillips. After he got hurt, he came out with some promise early, had a couple of pretty good games. Then he gets hurt. He stays out the rest of the year. What do they see in him? Is there something there that we don't know about that they see in him that they think he's going to be a good number 2?
Here's my thing with this.
He's just a slot guy. He's not a 2.
What do we have? What is our philosophy? What do we have coaching? How good are we scheming? I think it's not just the position. It's where are we putting emphasis on it? Who's our coordinator? What are we doing? I think that's got as much to do with. I mean, A.J. Brown was a great. We didn't use him. We didn't have. And these receivers, these good receivers are going, I want to go to Tennessee. They're not going to throw the ball. Who's going to throw it to me? They're not going. They don't put a whole lot of emphasis on throwing the ball. So,
well, the one thing that kind of has disappointed me is that you had Vrabel and Cawthon come out and say, we want to get faster.
Right.
We want to be fast. But then in the same sense, they want to talk about not being the Steph Curry style, point guard getting rid of the ball, those type things. And so to me, it kind of contradicted themselves. But I think that the thing that stands out is they're going for the same type offense they've always had. They're getting big, versatile offensive linemen. They got the quarterback who is a pro-style quarterback, not a mover. I mean, Will Levis has some
Will Levis can move. He
movability.
can run a little bit.
But he's more of a pro-style type quarterback. And I think all their free agency style picks are to be a big physical team with a good defense.
Yeah.
I think that's still their focus.
And character.
Okay, so
Built like Vrabel, going to hit you in the mouth,
Yeah.
going to block, going to do the things that you don't notice, going to do those every day, whether it's in the field, it's on the practice field, it's in the game. The little things that we always talk about, we're going to be good at those. We're going to be high character, and
that's the culture he came from. That's the Belichick system.
Mhm.
All right, and this one thing that just came to my mind a minute ago was the fact that you've got those 3 that you mentioned at possible trade. We think Tannehill's going to hang around to give Levis time to develop.
I just don't think anybody's going to take that
No,
contract.
no,
we
I
don't.
don't
We
either.
don't see Henry going.
Same
So that
thing. They're not
leaves
going to take the
Byard.
contract. They're not going to
That
take his
leaves
contract
Byard.
either.
I think we're going to see Byard on the block. They asked him to take a pay cut. He said no. There's not been anything nailed down. He's still loose and dangling, in my opinion. I think he will be gone, and we'll negotiate, and we'll get another pick somewhere.
Well, I think that out of those, I think you're right. That's the most sensible. The problem is I hate that.
I know.
He is a
Yeah.
homegrown
I
kid.
know.
No one wants
Yeah.
that contract. All 3 of these
Yeah.
contracts
Yeah.
are too high.
Yeah.
No one's going to trade for it.
You trade Byard for a 4th round pick.
That's right.
And
I'm
they
not
may
saying
do
that
they
it's-
do a 4th this year and a 3rd next year to replace that 3rd that they had to give up.
That's some talk that's going around.
yeah.
I mean, if you
I just
look,
don't see it.
I think it'll have to be more than. I think it'll have to be a more than that. I mean, he's just too. Everybody in the league says he's one of the best safeties in the league.
they might get a 4th and a 5th.
You're gonna have to get more than that.
He's Pro Bowler.
Yeah.
You don't trade a Pro Bowler for a fourth, fifth
Well,
round.
then
Yeah.
why
Yeah.
hadn't you gone ahead and paid the man?
We have. He's going to
They have.
contract.
Oh, did
We
they?
have
He
paid
got
him.
a
Yeah, now
contract
he's-
last year.
Let's see. I'll
His
tell
cap
you
number's
this.
what, $19 million?
Okay, they were
Yeah.
talking about. They asked him though to
Yes,
take a pay
because
cut.
he's got to make
But
$19
he
million.
got one
big salary
But
cap
can you
contract.
keep all
Yeah,
three
he's
of them?
19
$19
million this year, 17 million next year.
Okay,
So-
so can they keep him and still be under the cap?
We're under the
way
cap now.
things are.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
we're under the cap.
We're under the cap. We got what, 10, 11, 12 million?
11 million, I think, is what we're at right now. And,
Okay,
and
what does it
that's-
take to sign who we're getting?
I
Six,
think
7 million.
7 million.
So you got a little cushion then.
Yeah.
Sure.
What about kicker position? We got Stonehouse,
I
Are they
think
going
they're- I think-
Hunter. We're okay there.
And that's something to bring up. There was a kicker went in the third round last
Yeah,
night.
they realized that-
Moody-
that
Kid from
Michigan.
Michigan.
Moody went to the San Francisco 49ers and the kid out of Michigan. Now, he's got a leg and he's accurate as could be. But the fact that they took a kicker in the third round,
Imagine Janikowski back in the day.
Yeah.
it brings back those. But
Yeah.
wasn't that first round?
Yeah.
First
yeah,
round,
and there was
yes.
another kid, Grammatica, out of
Martin Gramatica.
yeah. He was drafted. Both of those two came out
And
the
see,
same
and I
year.
don't understand why people don't put more emphasis on that.
Oh, I know.
But you just, again, kickers are
Yeah.
different here, and they're different here. They all have legs, but they're different here. But you got to have them.
I love Janikowski though. I mean, he kept on playing, and if I asked him to kick an 80-yarder, he'd trot out there and
Yeah.
try it.
The big thing about the
And
kicker
love
we had
doing it,
last
yeah.
year, he played some for Bullock, was
Yeah.
Suddock, and
Yeah.
was the kickoffs were better.
Yeah.
'Cause that was the thing about Randy Bullock. He couldn't kick. He couldn't get a touchback, and they've changed the
I know.
rules to where, David, I think you might get a touchback.
Let me ask you this: what do we have at place kicker now?
Suddock, I hope's the guy.
Yeah, I think the young kid.
Out of Iowa,
the young kid
Yeah, I
is still
think
on the
he'll be-
practice.
And we'll
Okay.
bring in another one or two somewhere.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
they'll
kick-
show up.
Hey, listen, the thing about kicking, you can bring them off streets.
yeah, in a day, and,
And we're still, and this is the thing about the NFL that's much different now than it was 20 years ago is now you've got this wave of free agency that's about to happen in the next 3 weeks. You're going to see people come out of the draft. So the 49ers may cut a kicker because they draft one. There's going to be guys come available that I think is going to fill some of these holes. And I think that's where they're hoping at the receiver position. I really think that they do. I think Seattle drafted a receiver early. They drafted the first one at number 20. I think that may be where a veteran comes loose.
There's a receiver at San Francisco that I hear is on the trading block. I don't know if anything happened with him. It's Brandon Ayuk.
Mhm.
I would love to have him in two-tone blue.
it
he's
might
a
happen.
player.
You never know.
I just don't think him and Shanahan G off.
Yeah, and Juwan Jennings may get cut.
He could.
Really?
He's at that fourth or fifth
Yeah.
receiver, and those are never safe because.
But he's been. Hey, they say he's been a huge team leader out there for them, and he's a key. He's one of those that you don't. He makes clutch catches. He comes in. He made some big third down catches down the stretch there.
And Cawthon, he brought two 49ers in
Yeah,
free
it could
agency,
happen.
so he's going to be watching.
Hey,
One
from
thing I-
Murfreesboro.
And he knows them.
Please
Right
quit
home.
bringing in Houston Texans. No more Houston Texans. If you
Okay.
play for the Texans, no more Houston
You can't
Texans,
do it.
please.
Okay,
No more
it's-
Houston
it's done.
Texans.
All right, okay. Let's talk about the Packers.
And we just brought one of them in at receiver.
Kenny Parker, tell us about the Packer draft. Are you happy? I think you are happy.
I am very happy.
Let's talk about them. Who did they get?
the excuse me, when they drafted the defensive lineman out of Iowa,
Van Ness.
Bill didn't really like that, but I think he is going to be good.
He didn't start at Iowa.
That doesn't matter.
Just
He's
saying.
hey, listen,
Just saying.
he played as a redshirt sophomore last year. He played as a true freshman, redshirted as a sophomore, played as a redshirt sophomore last year. You look at his stats. Look what he's 6'4", about 280, runs a 4.6. He is, if you look in the Big Ten, as the sophomores, the people that played 2 years, he's second in sacks. He's second in tackles behind. He hasn't matured
14 sacks in 2 years as a backup.
as a backup,
Back up.
as a non-starter. 14. He's not 21 years old. He's not in his body.
Yeah.
He's not where these other guys are right now. At 21, most of them were just now coming out. He is going to be a long-term person, a very big need, because when Gary went down for the Packers early in the season, they were like the third best team in pressuring the quarterback in the NFL. When he goes down, they're like third to the last. That was a definite big team need. He can play inside. He can play outside. Gary comes back. You got the other guy. You move him inside. And what is the NFL? It's a quarterback-driven league. You want to rush the quarterback. I don't think you can ever go against drafting a defensive player that can put pressure on people early.
I think the reason he
You
shot
got
up,
to play defense.
I think the reason he shot up the draft boards was two things. Versatility. He can play defensive tackle. He can play a 3 technique.
Inside,
he can play a 5
outside.
technique. He can play wide 9. He can come off and cover a little bit. But this kid, he was coming off the board whether it was here or New England.
As
That's what I
strong
heard.
as
He
an
wasn't
ox.
going to make it
Strong
past
as-
New
He
England.
wasn't going to make another one. And what do you say? Offense wins games. Defense wins championships.
Mhm.
We talk about these other people that are going to take them a year or two. You plug them guys in, you make a day. Well, here, Jordan Love, you need to get him some help on offense. You give him some help on offense. You're getting the ball back.
Yeah.
You're getting the ball back. You're getting the ball back.
Ken, who'd you Packers take in the second round?
We got we got a tight end
Yep. Luke
Out of-
Musgrave.
out of Oregon State, who a lot of people thought was one of the top 2. A lot of people had him over the Notre Dame tight end. And then I think they got the wide receiver from Michigan State, which was a slot guy who everybody, and that's what Packers didn't have. The Packers didn't have a slot guy. Cobb was up, but they didn't have one.
So that's
of
why I
those.
would have rather seen y'all took Zay Flowers right there to help Jordan
No,
Love.
I think
this kid the Jaden Reed kid out of Michigan State, he could very well
He's
be.
good.
He could have slipped into the early first round. I think if
He had a big
receivers,
Senior Bowl.
yeah, he might be one of the steals in the second round.
and then in the third round they go get the tight end from San Diego State or
South
Jose.
Dakota
South Dakota State.
Yeah.
South Dakota. Hey, look out! This kid's going to be now tight end. They call them tight ends. They ain't might well be receivers.
Yeah.
Can they block?
Yeah.
Got to be able to block.
That's why they got
And
that
that-
kid.
and got to be able to block.
Well, the best
Uh,
ones do. You look at all those
now,
guys, George Kittle
Here's the
and
thing:
Kelsey, they block.
Packers have drafted 4 players already.
Yeah.
All of them team needs. Now they're sitting back, starting today with at round 4, and they've got 9 picks, so they can make their team better.
They can.
All here,
Wow.
these we're sitting here talking about rounds 1, 2, and 3. These are all players that should, but you make your teams in 4 through 7, and your undrafteds. That's where you pick up value.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, we're talking about the Titans and what they've got. What is about to happen today is where teams pick up value.
Yeah.
Seattle
Yeah.
and San Francisco have done as well as
Yeah.
anybody for years.
And I'll say this: I think you can never go wrong drafting a defensive player first. What did Philly do?
That's what I was going to get to.
Yeah.
Look what they
What
did.
did Philly do?
The Georgia. The
How do you
Georgia
get
of the
Nolan
North.
Smith at 28, who
I know
is
it.
a physical freak?
Well,
How are you going to block them now? Look at their defensive line.
I mean, just
Talk about rushing the quarterback.
when you
How did they get him?
Well,
well,
you,
hey, they got him
you got Carter
because
to
they
go
were
with Davis.
smart when he was
Yeah.
available. They picked
Yeah.
him. The others that were in front of him, they could have picked him also, but they weren't smart.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Let's talk about undrafted free agents that'll be left hanging out there that could make an impact on a team. Do you have anybody that jumps out at you that you don't think will be drafted that will be left hanging? Maybe an SEC player that you or a favorite player that you've been watching. Who is it, Kenny?
That's the thing. Nobody knows.
Yeah.
That's it.
And you know, you look at every year in the NFL, somebody finds that player or two.
Mhm.
Okay.
Somebody finds that player or two, and it could be the Michael Jordan.
I've got a name for you, and I want you to watch him. And I mentioned to him on a show here before. He plays at UCLA. His name is Jake Bobo. He was one of that quarterbacks. I forget his name. The kid that ran the ball so well.
Dorian Thompson.
Dorian Thompson is one of his favorite targets. Jake Bobo. He transferred from Duke with Gary, and Jake Bobo is
What's he play?
he's a big guy. They put him in the slot, but he can play
6'4", 206.
Oh, so he's a receiver.
He's a receiver, and he runs like a 4.6, but he's a gamer, and he's going to be overlooked. And if somebody don't pick this
you
kid
need to be
up,
sending this to Nashville
well, Jake Bobo, I'm telling you,
or Green Bay.
write his name down. He'll be starting in the NFL at some point. Just mark him down. He's a gamer.
Was anybody surprised Hendon Hooker lasted as long as he did?
Yeah.
I am.
Yes,
Yeah,
I
I'm
am.
shocked.
I think teams were scared off because I don't think he's going to be available till October. They said he's going to be available first of the season, but you got a month of rehab to get back to game speed. I think that's why the Titans may have been a little nervous of him.
But when you compare Hendon Hooker's stats to Will Levis's,
Hey, here's the thing.
it's not close, folks.
Hey,
Different.
it's gonna take Hooker how long? It's gonna take him a year. All right,
Yeah.
he's 25. He'll
Yeah.
be 26. So in a year when he's ready to come into the league, he's gonna be 27.
Yeah.
When he's able to start competing for the quarterback job, he's gonna be 27.
Yep.
How many years you gonna get?
Not
out of
much.
Oh, now
5-6
we played a
years
40,
tops.
45. Come on, man.
Well,
But Detroit was a good place for him. They
How
got
many
weapons.
people-
That was a good place
How
for
many
Hooker to
people
go.
played the 40 or 45? There's up to two. And
George
and
Blanda
you call
and Tom
both
Brady.
of them goats.
I
So
don't
you-
know if Detroit did not have the best draft. yet.
I
Yeah,
think
I
Detroit had a great draft.
Well, I think
And
Carolina did
unfortunately-
too.
I think Carolina did too, but
And
with
I'll
what
tell you right
Detroit
now-
did, it was special.
I think Philly had a heck of a draft.
Well,
Yeah.
I tell you what,
Killed
it's not over. Hey, like you said earlier,
Yeah, you
4 or
make it-
5.
you
Hey,
make it
these
right here.
next rounds,
Mhm.
and I'm telling you, there's going to be some surprises out of free agency.
Sure, they're
There'll
going
be
to.
some. You'll go, well, who
I
is that?
agree.
I hope the Titans can pick up 2 or 3 players that can help them.
Exactly.
And I'd
This
love
is-
for them to pick up this kid because he
this
would
is
be a
what-
good
now,
target.
Now, with what we're saying, I told you, Packers had 9 picks. How many picks does the Titans have today?
3,
That's it.
They only
5,
have
6, and
3.
7.
See,
And they only have 3 left.
Yeah,
3.
I mean, we're getting 6 players out of the draft. They're going to have to go to this pool that's
Yeah.
left.
That's the
and
problem
pull
with
up
trading
a
next
couple.
year's threes and
Yeah.
trading future picks.
But
And
here's
no more Texans, all right.
No
but
more
here-
Texans.
here's
No
the thing.
more Texans.
but I understand what you're saying with the tradings and this. You know, some of them got upset with the Packers last night because when they're sitting there getting ready, and I've read this, and they're getting ready to pick at like 45 in the second round. Well, evidently, what they were wanting, they felt like, so they traded back and pick up,
Yep.
and then they get there, and then they trade back to get, well, heck, they could have got the Branch. And safety was a big need at Green
Mhm.
Bay. They could have got the Branch kid, but had they got him, they wouldn't have got the guy from Michigan
Hey,
State.
we have a
Yeah.
special guest on here now. Aaron Parker chimes in.
Well, he didn't call me.
He said,
There we go. He's
Listen,
right.
There you
Kurt
go.
Great
Warner,
point.
Kurt Warner started at 27.
There we go.
Yeah,
He
he
did.
but he started in Barnyard League.
No, but he started at
In the
the
NFL.
NFL. He was 27 when he made it to the Rams there.
Yeah, and I
So-
think Hendon Hooker will be a successful.
Hey.
I don't know how successful, but I think he will be successful in the NFL. But the problem with the system style quarterbacks, because it just depends on how they can translate. Because what Tennessee's offense, it's a 2-read system.
Tennessee,
High-low.
Yes,
And so the thing is if the safety jumps the low route, we throw deep. If they sit back, we throw short. In the NFL, you've got to get to 3rd, 4th, 5th.
Let's talk about this.
potential.
and you hear, and we all talk about it. Tennessee, Hoople spreads the field,
Hoople.
whatever his name. What's his name?
High boy.
There you go.
Kenny
Yeah,
is
hey,
an
I'm
Alabama fan
Alabama,
through and
man.
through. He
Hey.
had to get that jab
We
in.
get Saban right
But
there.
listen, hey, it's a system.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
system. Bill Anderson can go out there and be successful with it.
Well, I think that's why you saw Jalen Hyatt slip to where he slipped. He went from being a first rounder to
Exactly,
third rounder.
exactly.
Well, because the passing
you-
tree is so much different. For
and you-
Jalen Hyatt, he may only ran 3 or 4 rounds.
And Jalen Hyatt's not going to get that wide
Hey,
open.
I think that's
How many touchdowns he had against Alabama? Does anybody remember?
Oh, bunch.
12, 12 or something. I
too
don't-
many.
But
Yeah.
here's the thing.
Branch decided not to guard that game.
I heard them talking about Hendon Hooker brain power. Okay. They say he is really smart. And his age brings maturity with him too.
That's great.
He can pick it up quicker, and he's got the brain to go outside of where he was, because they asked him when he was at Virginia Tech. They asked him about the installations that they had there, and he sat there and they rattled them off. And that's been 2 years ago. He rattled off everything, and they said it totally blew everybody
You
away.
know,
But his brain is
here's
head.
you're talking about all this stuff. Heck, the guy that wasn't Gruden, but the guy that used to have the quarterback school, and he'd say, "All right, I want you to run me a YZX dig this, and this."
Yeah.
You didn't see him do that with CJ Stroud.
No. So
You
just
didn't
throw
see
it-
him do
But
that.
as much as Tennessee throws the football, Hendon Hooker had 2 interceptions. That is phenomenal.
But that's
Just phenomenal.
again.
That's not the scheme.
who-
That's you don't make
you
mistakes.
watch this
Watch
year.
how many Milton throws.
You watch this year.
It'll be more than 2 in a game.
And that might be because he forces more of it.
Yeah.
But you watch.
I think Hendon
It's a-
Hooker is a quality athlete. I think he's
Yep.
going to be a good quarterback. The problem is with the NFL is can it translate?
Mhm.
That is what it all comes down to. Height, weight, string, and arm strength. That sounds great. But the problem is can that mental aspect translate? Now he is a smart kid, but I think they said the same things about Malik last year in
Yeah.
the 3rd round.
What
But he
did-
came out of Liberty, which is the same style offense.
What was your GOAT, Brady? What was his height, weight, arm strength, and
Right.
speed?
Well, he was 6'6".
Bad, bad, and bad.
Well, he's 6'5".
Oh, come on, let's quit. Height, weight, no.
He had the
Hey,
height.
Hey, and the thing about it is, how many years ago was that? He still ain't finished his 40-yard dash.
and you know, Peyton Manning, same thing.
Same
Peyton Manning, yeah.
same way.
The thing is, and this
And
is
he's still working on push-up number 3.
the story that I hear from Peyton Manning that makes me understand the NFL style quarterback is when he went from the Indianapolis Colts to the Denver Broncos. You know, he had the neck injury, and so he was rehabbing, and he would sit in the rehab pool getting all of his treatment with a helmet on with the speaker in it, so he could hear what was going on the practice field when they were calling plays, so he could learn the offense in the early times.
I
of training
guarantee you
camp.
that was his idea too.
Oh, I guarantee it. And so because he was doing things like that,
Yeah.
he was ahead of the game when he went out on the field because he knew the terminology and he was picking up the offense. And I think that is the thing that is preparation. I think that is the one thing. Are the quarterbacks going to be the first one in the door and the last one out? And I think that's what translates. And I think the Zach Wilson kid up in New York, the reason he failed is because he's the first one out and the last one in. And I think that those are the things that translates what more to the NFL is what the work ethic.
Drew's going to cause me to miss a call on the softball field today because I'm going to be thinking about Peyton Manning with a helmet on in the World Cup.
All right, guys. Well, it's going to be interesting to see how the next rounds
And
play
only
out.
time will tell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And probably like you say, Kenny, these next rounds are going to be just as
It's where you
important
make
or
your team.
more than the first.
One more steal I thought this draft was the Buffalo Bills in round 2 at the end of the round getting Osiris Torrance, the guard from Florida.
Yeah.
He should have gone the
First
this,
round grade.
This is the best guard in the draft. He's a man.
But
All right.
see,
was
that's
shocked.
the thing. People draft needs a lot of times before they draft. And you get some of them that we talk about his name all the time, Belichick. Belichick.
Belichick. Yeah.
Belichick. What's Belichick do?
Best available.
Goes down. Hey,
What did he get in the first round? The best corner in the draft.
Yeah.
watch what he does today. This is what he does. He goes down.
He's a master.
and he gets these others, and he fits them into his, and he'll build around them.
And he expects them to work. He expects them to pay attention to details, like you were talking about earlier. All those little things, like you're talking about, the intent, the stuff you don't see on the field that's taking place all week. He expects perfection there, and they strive for it.
Got one about 60 miles up the road.
Yeah.
Getting to be about the same way.
Yeah, that's that's where he was put. That's where his
Mhm.
culture is. I mean, that's what he thinks. One last question before we go: Will Stetson Bennett get drafted, or will he be off the board?
Nope, he's not getting drafted.
He'll
Not
be
getting drafted.
drafted.
You think he will?
7th round.
Okay. Dave Overcast says one thing: Hooker will have a better NFL career than Levis. All right, that's his prediction, but neither will be stellar. I'm going to agree with him.
I said all along that Hooker would be a great pick for the Titans because Danny Hill's there.
Yeah.
He could help him. They don't have to play him right now. I said all along there.
Yeah.
I said all along if I was going to get one, Hooker would be a good pick.
I would have probably done that too.
But to have to give up no more than what they had to give up for somebody that was going to be a top 5 pick. And Hooker, sorry, brother, if he hadn't got hurt, would have been a top 5 pick.
Yeah.
And Vrabel's tied to him now. Vrabel is tied to Levis. If Levis
Yeah.
fails,
Yeah.
Vrabel will
Yeah.
get fired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys. It's going to be interesting
And
to see it play out.
that was something that the Titans have been. How they get Simmons, how they get these guys that are hurt to give them time to heal.
And they come in there and do their thing. All right, guys, we're going to sit back down and start this again in July when training camp kicks in. We start to see things develop. So we're done now for Chevrolet Sports Talk. Guys, it's been fun this year. Drew, thanks for coming for this
Absolutely.
special
Thank you.
edition. Hope we can have you back this fall when we
Yes,
get
sir.
cranking. And I know we've got a lot of people lined up that want to come on the show.
And we're gonna get
next
some
year.
coaches on this
Yeah,
year.
there'll be
We'll
some
have head
coaches.
coaches on this year.
I
It's
know
gonna
the
be good.
central coach wants to
Central coach
come
will come
on.
on with us a couple times.
And I think
Jake
Jake,
on.
Jake will come on and maybe some more. So, guys, it's been fun. Thanks for watching. Thanks for giving us your input. We look forward to seeing you when we get back here in late July. Thanks
And
for watching.
today
And-
was a record with the input we
Yeah,
had.
we had some
we
input.
had
They
some
did.
input, and we appreciate
more
it.
of it.
So, guys, we'll see you in July. Thanks for watching.